In this episode of the IT Experts podcast, we share with you what life is like under the bonnet of the MSP Growth Hub, where we go into what happened in the May 2026 intensive event.
Welcome to the IT Experts podcast, the only podcast to help MSPs scale to 1 million, and if already there, get to 5 and go faster. At the end of the day, isn't it all about building a business that works for you rather than you for it? I hope you enjoy the show.
So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the IT Experts podcast. And again, another treat where we go inside the MSP Growth Hub, what is going on. And we've basically, in this episode, we've brought all the coaches and significant people to the podcast lounge, like my business partner, Stuart Warwick. Good afternoon, Stuart.
Great to see you. Great to be here.
Fantastic. I'll share with you what happened at the May Intensive. We have a 2-day client event 3 times a year, which is one of the most powerful things we do with our clients to help them get momentum in the MSP Growth Hub. Stuart, give us a bit of context around the theory of what the intensive is all about and this time.
The May Intensive 2026. Every intensive is themed, and because there's 3 a year, it will reflect the 3 pillars of the Scale with Confidence model that anchors the whole scale system that we implement with our clients. And so May is Amplify Capacity, where we're looking at how you effectively amplify the operational effectiveness and the team performance levels such that you've got a trusted team, a powerful team, an aligned team behind the strategy of the business so that you can scale with confidence. And ultimately your sales and marketing is just easily eaten up by just the operational capacity of the business. So this particular theme, we were looking at embed and connect, the framework that allows growing MSPs to make sure, give them a framework and a system and a set of tools to align their people effectively and consistently behind the strategy and goals of the business, and cascading through the scale operating system, the vision, the annual plan, that cascades into the 16-week plan or quarterly plan that translates into departmental plans and then becomes that rhythm of review that is monthly, weekly and daily on the front desk, support desk, project team, account management, sales and marketing. And it's this embed and connect piece linked to the leadership behaviors of our clients that really allows the business to become that leverageable asset that it needs to be if you can scale past basically being a lifestyle business, past that 4, 5, 6, 700,000, where the business owns you and you're involved in everything. And it's this alignment of how you embed the people and connect the people to the systems and the plan and the direction that makes the opportunity to achieve owner not needed, which is the goal of all of our clients, which is up here on the arrive side of the MSP journey. That is the key to creating an MSP that gives you more time, more profit, more freedom, and the choices to do what you want, when you want, and with who you want and how you want.
Because essentially what we did this time was everybody knows what they've got to do, pretty much. This is the funny thing about what we do. Everybody knows what we want to do, and it's just do it then. And the thing is, how do I get started? Why is my business is my business the same as everybody else? What's the things I need to do? And some of these questions keep popping up, don't they? So the framework we delivered had a whole load of templates and done with you cascading targets and all of that kind of great stuff. And it was very powerful, some of the feedback that we received, wasn't it?
Yeah, it completely, because all of this stuff is obvious, but when you get back into the melee of actually running the business, it goes out the window. So when you've got somebody that lays a step-by-step framework, guys, if you're going to embed and connect your team, this is what you need to do on this kind of frequency and basis. And actually, here's some ready-made tools that you can adapt to use in your business to make it happen. And it just takes the friction out of, what am I supposed to do as a leader? I need to get my team together and I need to do this. I'll go and do something else instead.
Yeah.
And that's the challenge of why our clients find us and work with us, because we're coaching them and giving them tools to actually show up as the leader that the business and their people need them to be, and they need for themselves. And it's amazing to see them go away with like that spring in their step and that confidence, knowing they know how to bring it further alive with their team. But again, there's a lot of prerequisites needed before you get to this point. And so all of our clients, when they've come in, they've done the work around roles, responsibilities, job descriptions, KPIs. With those in place, this allows the embed and commit approach framework to actually come alive. So yeah, it was amazing intensive because it's lovely to see the light bulbs go on, the spring in the step come into everyone as they leave the room, and then move on to the next 16-week phase of implementation.
What were some of the light bulbs that you heard around the room in those 2 days? What were some of the things that you heard people saying that was like, oh my word, I can't believe this is me, or this is not me, or what was going on there?
The thing I love most about the intensive is because everyone's decided to stop for 2 days, give themselves that space to be amongst 50 other business owners, all doing following the same process. And because the power of that, they come in tired. It's been a long 16 weeks. 16 weeks is a long time. The thing that the light bulb for me is that they just start to sit up straighter. They start to go, actually, we've done a lot. And actually now I see what I've done. I see where the gaps are, and they can laser in on what needs to happen next. And that's the thing. That's why we do what we do, because it's the consistency of doing it. And then we get them together in 8 weeks at the 8-week alignment. Then it come back to the intensive, which is intensive for a reason. But it just gives them that space and time to get clear again, get some amazing ideas curated whilst being in the room with us, and then have that clarity about what to do going forward. I think it's that light bulb of I'm making more progress than I think I am. I can see the results coming through, and I've gone from overwhelmed or tired to energized and focused. And that's a great 2 days.
Yeah. I think for me, there's a couple of things come up. Number one was the fact that I'm going to say 80% of the problems that I heard come back to a leadership opportunity, I'll say, not a problem. And it's a me thing. I've got to go and hold the mirror up. It's not a them thing, it's a me thing. And how do I do it? And that was the point of the framework delivery, the conversations, and the structure that we had as well. But one of the things that I did hear was the difference between a program and a peer group, right? So there's lots of peer groups out there, and they're amazing and they're really good. And if you're in a certain place, and we say this in the growth guide, if you're accountable and you've got your plan and your vision and you know where you're going, then it's absolutely fantastic. But the one thing that we do, and you alluded to it a minute ago, was we stop. We literally pause the clock, press pause, and go look back at what you've achieved. And we get this all the time. I haven't really done much, Stuart. I don't really know that I've really achieved much, Ian. And then they look at their plan, and then they look at what they've done, and then they map the two together and they go, oh, I've actually really come far forward. And that's the thing, is because everybody's on the same journey, following the same framework, it's easy to measure and calibrate and to see where people have just joined the program, and they might be rabbit in the headlights, and they might be this, and they're kind of like seeing some of the guys who've been in there, and the guys might be up on a panel and offering some insights. But it's not like we just get together for 2 days and just have a chat and a few beers, and we do have a bit of a laugh at the same time. But it's a really people come there to do, they come there to win, they come there to succeed. And it's a very different environment than many of the other communities, because I think it's just so deliberate, isn't it?
It's really deliberate. And again, it's reinforced that I'm not alone in this.
Yeah.
Again, they come in and they're tired, and as we just said a moment ago, and you leave with all these ideas about, even that's like making the most of your PSA or making the most of your marketing assistant. Just because you're doing it one way or struggling with it, then you hear half a dozen or a dozen other people doing it similarly, but different. And it just, as we always say, being in the room compresses the amount of time and the number of mistakes you need to get from A to B. And it just happens again and again. And by them giving themselves the gift of time, because it'd be easy for someone not to turn up and go, and they do come in thinking, busy, why am I here? But I know I need to be here. And then, as you just said, they start hearing and listening and reflecting on how much they've done and go, actually, I haven't been busy. I've been really productive.
Absolutely. And it's funny that we tell them the what, and then they figure out the how. And this is where MSPs get stuck, particularly the people that we've been having conversation with, kind of prospects who are coming through. I know what I need to do. I know I just need to do this, but I don't know how to do it. And within the depth of what happens at the intensive, they get the how, and then they get to validate it with everybody else. Hey, they've said I should be doing it like this. Should I be doing it like this, or should I be doing it like that? And all of a sudden, they then come back and they go, I'm having my one-to-ones. I'm having my quarterly town hall meetings. I'm sharing with everybody the company performance. And my God, my life is just transformed. And that's winning, right?
Indeed. And we don't know what we don't know at the time. When they come into the room, or like they have a one-to-one call, until they've started to unpack and share and write down all of the stuff that's going on, good or bad or indifferent, you start to get the insights that come out. And that's that's how you get that instant transformation of mood and state to go from I'm struggling and I can't and I'm busy to I can. And I know I'm not far away from success in this particular area. It's a delight. So the intensive is intensive. It's always great fun to get everyone together, but most importantly, it's seeing the energy that leaves the room as they go back to their businesses to crack on.
Well, thank you for sharing and putting a bit of a pillar to the front of this show. Let's hear from some of the other coaches on what's been happening. Okay, up next, we've got the amazing Julie, our leadership and team performance coach. Hey, Julie, how are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Now, I've just been talking to Stuart about the Embed and Connect framework that we were talking to or sharing with the clients, and you had the starring role this time, didn't you? You were on the stage, you were on the limelight, and I can tell you that for, I think, probably nearly 2.5 hours, you had more eyes focused on you than you've ever seen before in your life. It was an amazing session. Tell us what it was all about.
Yeah, it was nice to be up on that stage. So what we were talking about was the second part of our maximising team dynamics and really looking deeply at the fact that if you want a productive team, you get your productive team, that gives you that better of the cost in your business, you're getting that investment back again. And so what we were saying was, if you want the ROI, you've got to look at the team. So we were looking at how do you actually create, or how do you measure and create a cohesive, enthusiastic team? So we were looking at, well, have I got one in the first place? That was the first start. Breaking that down as to what does that even look like around how do we communicate? How clear are we about the function that everybody has and the requirements of people and the behaviors and culture that we have? And do you know what was really interesting was how many people started writing very intently when we talked about clarity of function and clarity of requirements of the people in their role. That was hilarious.
Yes.
Because what we recognize, obviously, as a small business grows, Ian, the thing that you realize is that you can't just say, oh, Bob, can you just do this? You have to have this clarity, because otherwise the wheel starts coming off, because everybody literally in one of our Q&As today, it was like, why aren't people taking responsibility? Is because nobody knew whose responsibility that really was. So how we communicate that, how we make that clarity of function requirements was coming out hugely. And everybody, I think, was realizing, oh, my wheel's going to fall off if I don't get this right. And since that, the action I've seen in the Q&As and the pods has been, oh, I'm doing my job descriptions, I'm doing my clarity thing. So we've really brought them to that thought to mind. And that's been fantastic, because often this is not the most fun part of the business for them. It's not a direct, oh, I'm making money here. However, this is going to make them money because this is going to make the team more productive. So we did that. We did a wonderful exercise called There's Been a Breach, and got them to look at
that was very funny.
It was funny because we were intentionally unclear about the functions and the requirements. And so it caused lots of arguments and everybody got super upset. And that was the whole point. They were like, well, we haven't got enough information. And oh, it could be this or it could be that. And that was exactly the point, was there you go. If you do not make it clear, this is how your team feels. This is what's going to happen. So we then help them to look at what should I be putting in place, and have I got it? And then off you go and get it. So that's what they're all doing this next month. And then we also looked at behaviours and culture as well, and making sure that when you do communicate it, people actually want to bloom and do it. That's always useful.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Hold that thought for a moment, Ian. It's Stuart here. I just got a quick pit stop here for everyone that could really move the needle. If growing your MSP is on your radar, but it feels somehow a bit foggy, a bit difficult to get your arms around the concept, then download our Ultimate MSP Growth Guide, because it lays out all of the best support options that are out there in the channel, so you can fast track what really works for you and make a clear decision. Alternatively, you may be the kind of person that likes to see things up real for yourself in action physically. So why not come to one of our events where you can do exactly that? And we'd love to meet you. So there's just a head up for you down in the show notes there. You'll find the links to be able to take the next step. But otherwise, let's get back to the good stuff and back to the show.
Cheers. It was really funny, that exercise, because when, I'm not sure if you noticed it or not, but when I was sitting there and I was kind of like amongst the clients, there were some of them who were getting quite animated, that they don't think we'd given them enough information.
Yeah.
And you just deliberately just let them go and ignored them, because that was emulating life.
Yeah,
that they
exactly
don't
what we're
always have
telling
the
them.
right information. And then they go, I haven't done this bit and I haven't done that bit and you haven't given me this and you haven't given me that. And they were almost displaying the behaviour they were back at the office, but in the
They're
growth hub, wasn't
displaying
it?
the behaviour that their team would be displaying because they
Yes,
haven't been clear enough themselves. So I was quite cruelly, if I'm honest, Ian, proving a
you
point,
were.
really. But it hit home. And sometimes, like I said, it's hard to stop and get off the hamster wheel and think about this stuff because you always think, oh, it's not that important or nobody reads those things anyway. However, when you get this right, people don't need to ask so many questions. They know exactly what they're responsible for.
Yep.
And they can get on with it and they can take responsibility. And therefore you can step back and let them do that. There's a whole load of other stuff around whether you do step back and let them, but that was another intensive. But, this is where you have the ability to go, oh, I trust that you will do what I ask you to do because you know what it is. And in my opinion, most people come to work wanting to do a good job. And all we need to do is set them up to succeed. And this is one of the things that it makes a massive difference, even though it's one of those things that you're like, oh, I don't want to do. But I would say that when you do it, it makes a huge difference.
It's so funny, isn't it? Because we see problems and challenges every week coming into the Growth Hub about this doesn't happen, that doesn't happen. And we kind of alluded it to when I was talking to Stuart. There's only so far you can go ignoring your responsibility as a business leader. We've had clients that have spent a year doing roles and responsibilities and one-to-ones, and they get to the point and it's like, avoided doing it. And they go, now I know why I need to do this because I've just heard so much stuff and I'm having so many problems. And if I just do this one thing, is that going to solve all these problems? And the answer is, yes, it is. And it's like, what's stopping you? And it's just not their happy place. It's just not their comfortable zone, is it? They just don't want to do it.
So we took them kicking and screaming, but they'll be smiling when they come out the other side.
They will be. They will be. And what is funny now is that when you come in on the calls, you say, have you done that? And they go, they don't say no or yes, because they know if you say that, they know that if they say yes and you say, give us some details behind it and you haven't done it, you've tripped them up. If they say no, you're going to have a go at them because they haven't done it and they said they were going to do it. Instead, they go, yeah, I'm working on it. And then it's, we can have that deep conversation.
I've done a couple of Q&A calls since we did this, and there's been more talk of roles and responsibilities and clarity than I've ever had. So I think we're finally getting there. And the only question they keep saying is, can we have some templates? Because they want us to do it more. I'm like,
we've got the templates. They're in the blooming Learning Academy. They should know that they're in the Learning Academy. Maybe we didn't give them to them until after the session, but lovely stuff. Look, thank you for showing up at 10 out of 10 energy as you do and catching them out in a very pleasant way to create that an amazing learning zone, as always, for our clients. Brilliant. Thank you, Julie. Next up, we've got Peter Williamson. Hi, Peter. How you doing?
Hi there. How are you?
Very good. Thank you. Very good. So, Embed and Connect, as we've previously spoken, this was a great intensive. Relatively new into the Growth Hub, finding your feet with all the different members and all the different ways and things that we're doing here. I know that this is one of your happy places because your previous experience in kind of governance and some of the larger tech businesses. This is your happy place, right? How did this kind of land for you? What was your feeling when you knew that this was the subject?
Yeah, I mean, it was great because I think one of the challenges that you face growing a business is how you grow the team and how you grow it in the right mold and how you get the right people on board. And the Embed and Connect session was great because it really focused on how you build the right teams, how you make sure that people have clear roles, clear responsibilities, how that they stand up and do what they need to do within an organization. You can focus on leading and driving the business forward, and you can have a staff of people that are actually going out there and smashing it day in, day out.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Recently, I think 60 to 70% of the conversations we're having in the Growth Hub are all around people.
Yeah.
Why are my people not doing this? I haven't got the right people. I'm the bottleneck, blah, blah, blah. It's not about the technical side of things or AI or anything like that. It's all around the people, wasn't it? So what was some of the things that you were hearing on the tables as you were going around?
It was interesting because I spent quite a bit of time on the tables of some of the larger clients in the room, and I think they've got more growing pains than a lot of the businesses, and adding more people, and it really changes the chemistry within the business. So some of the conversations around there, in particular was amazing how often two people think that each other are doing something. So they leave it to each other and actually nothing ends up getting done. Making sure that people are really clearly aware of what they're responsible for and really making sure that they take ownership of tasks and they take ownership of process became really a big part of the conversation.
It's what we call the expectation exchange, isn't it? It's when you think one person's doing one thing and it's that person's fault. For the purpose of the audio, I'm pointing one finger in one direction and one in the other. Many MSPs, they say that they have meetings. They say that they check in with their teams, but these are generally technical, aren't they? They're having a huddle just to make sure kind of everything is all in place. Where would you recommend, if they're not having proper business meetings, and I know that our Embed and Connect framework went all the way from the top all the way to the bottom. It's longer than this podcast is, but where would you recommend people start when getting that cadence of meetings, just to keep it super simple? Because it's got to be simple to start with, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that we always used to do was we would check in with everyone and go, do you understand actually what your job role is and what you should be doing?
Yeah.
Do you understand? Do you have all the tools that you need and have the skills and the knowledge that you need to be able to do those functions and do that job properly? And it's quite a simple question, but it's amazing. Sometimes people say, yeah, I'm supposed to be doing this. And you go, oh, no, that's actually not what you're supposed to be doing. So either we haven't communicated it well to you, that is your job, or they totally misunderstood it. So having that conversation, just making sure they really clearly understand their role, their responsibility, the tasks they should be completing, and also where they fit and who else is responsible for the other things that sit around them. So really simple question. Do you understand your job role? Tell me what you think it is.
And there was a great thing I heard from a Dan Martell book, Buy Back Your Time, which is, what is the definition of done? So when you say you're going to do something, what does doing it mean? Write it down. What does success mean in this area? Because any of their clients do, they don't say it now because they're all learning, but they never say they're using professional services in a niche because that's too wide. They know they'll get a hammer in for that. And the other thing is, they will say, "I'll get that done. We'll do sales and marketing." But what are you doing? What does done look when you've done it? What does the definition of that kind of like, which was quite interesting. So that was good. What else was popping up?
I think how to recruit and how to, so you've got your team and you start to define roles and responsibilities, but then that might then identify that you haven't got all the right people in all the right places. So there was definitely an element about, particularly on the last table that I sat on with some of the larger guys, it's how do we identify the right people to bring into the business? And that was a really interesting conversation. And I think there are some tools out there that you can definitely utilize where you look at all the functions that you have within your business and you look at all of the core competencies that you need to deliver each function. And you kind of go, who has them within the business? Whose job roles align with the functions and the competencies? And then you can kind of go, okay, so if we plot that all out on a graph, where have we got some gaps? We can see lots of filled in colors here. And normally it's the owner and the manager that are going, shit, I can do everything. I've got all the competencies and everything ends up on my desk. You start to look where there's points of weakness, where you've only got one person maybe who's got the capability to do something. And you start to go and recruit to basically help fill those gaps of those areas where people either don't have the skills or the knowledge to actually really truly deliver the function that they should be.
So if an MSP is listening to this podcast right now and they've just heard what you've said, and as one of our clients says, and if he listens to this podcast, he'll know who he is, because he says to us, he says it to Julie, our leadership coach, he goes, Julie, you said that beautifully and you make it sound so easy, but what do I actually need to do? So if an MSP is listening to this right now and they're going, Peter, that was just wonderful, but where do I start? Over to you. What's the steps? What do they need to do?
First of all, identify all of the specific functions that you have as a business, right the way through from finance, accounts, through to account management, through to first line, second line, third line tech. Identify what all those processes are. Write them all down the side of a sheet. On the top, plot everyone's name that works within your business currently. And then put a cross in all the areas where you think those people have the skills and ability to do those roles. Start there and you'll start to see some gaps. Those gaps are where you need to start looking at either how do I train and upskill my staff to fill them, or how do I go out and recruit to fill them?
That's it. Love that. It's like white space selling, but for people, isn't it? Just to find out what's in the box. Any other golden nuggets from the intensive to share today?
I think just really that bit about how you show up as a leader, how you make sure that you're setting the example, that you're making sure that embed and connect bit, everything stems from the top. Everything steps from the people that are heading up the organization. So be very conscious about how you interact with your staff, what you do, how you impact on their workload, how you give them authority. Great giving them responsibility.
Yeah.
But if you're going to give them responsibility, free to act as well. So conversations around that, again, were really powerful.
Brilliant stuff. And just lastly, just before we wrap up, obviously you're in the Q&As, you're in the accountability pods, you're in the community very much now. What success stories have you heard since the intensive where people have said, oh God, now I'm doing this, or now that's happening? Some of those popped up.
There's one person within the hub who struggled to get their team aligned, right? They went away from the last intensive. They've recruited a new member of staff and they've basically put in very clear roles and responsibilities. The comment at the Q&A yesterday was, I'm going on holiday for the first time in 3 years because my staff can go and do the things that they need to do.
Wow.
And the conversations that they're having in the office, they're really getting on and they're having a nice time. And just you could see on their face, just like stress and the strain was draining out of them. They had a team that could step up and do what they needed to do.
That's brilliant. That's what a good day in the office looks like, right?
Yeah, massively.
That's what that's all about. Lovely. Now we're going to get them so the business grows when they're on holiday for their next holiday. That's your challenge now, Pete. So we've got it running. Let's get it growing. Peter, thanks very much for your insights and snippets. It's absolutely great. It's lovely having you on board. Now you need to get in the office now because we've got some more onboarding to do. I'll look forward to seeing you soon and take care of yourself. So I hope you enjoyed the show and listening into what's happening inside the MSP Growth Hub. If you're fed up plodding along, if you're just about to lose your biggest client, you don't know how you're going to recover it, and if you're just like grinding away and not really getting anywhere and achieving that vision for your business, by the way, that's the things that we hear from MSPs every day. We're not making this stuff up. Then just hit us up on LinkedIn, drop me an email at ian@the MSP Growth Hub, and let's have a conversation. In the meantime, I hope you find it inspiring. We look forward to catching up with you all soon. Good luck. Take care. Be good. See you soon. And if you're one of those MSPs that gets constantly distracted by that AI shiny ball syndrome, then in next week's IT Experts podcast, we have got a real treat for you. We share with you the audio from the latest MSP Insights panel discussion, where I collected a group of AI experts to help you work out what you need to take notice of, what you need to ignore, and what can help you become a standout MSP in the channel. You're going to love this one. Don't forget to tune in next week. Just before you go, and if you're curious about how this episode links with the ability to scale your MSP to $1 million, or if you're already there, accelerate to 5, then we want to invite you to come and take the MSP Mastery Quiz. And in just 3 minutes, you're going to get a 360-degree scan of your business where you can identify the 1 or 2 tactics that can help you find more time, engage and align your people, and help generate more leads in your MSP. It's really simple. Just click on the link in the show notes. And if you have enjoyed this episode, we'd love to get some feedback from you by means of a rating, review on Spotify or iTunes or your podcast platform of choice. We really appreciate every single one of them. Now you can go and enjoy the rest of your day, and we look forward to catching up and connecting with you soon. All the best now.